So, welcome to another episode on semi-retirement and some of the techniques and strategies that can make it a little easier to accomplish. This one, I want to talk about a big topic, which is healthcare, and people ask a lot of questions about it, and it's one of the biggest things that people say are a reason why early retirement and semi-retirement is a really risky thing to do. And I want to talk about why I think, at least currently, it's actually not that risky of a thing. Oh, by the way, thought it would be fun to film this one next to our little hydroponic garden. We've been learning about that for the last 7 months or so, and I might make a separate episode on just kind of how to get one of these up and running. It's been pretty cool. But anyway, let's jump in on healthcare. So, as far as trying to minimize health spending, I think absolutely the most important thing you can do is just take care of yourself. And that involves getting enough sleep, exercise, if you're a smoker, kicking the habit, cooking your own good food instead of eating junk all the time, brushing your teeth and flossing. These things might sound kind of basic, but really most of how much you're going to spend on healthcare is determined by those sorts of things. So I think it's important not to overlook them. And I think it's a lot easier to take really good care of yourself if you're not so busy all the time. Okay, so enough general stuff. Let's talk specifics. We signed up for the Affordable Health Care Act right after we quit our jobs in 2018. And because once you quit your job, that's a qualifying event. And we got a bronze plan, and on our $38,000 adjusted gross income, it ended up being entirely paid for. So our premium is $0 per year. That's at our $38,000 AGI number. So that just blew my mind that it was completely paid for. And in 2019, it's also entirely paid for. So our premium is $0. So we'll see how long that sort of thing keeps up. I was planning on having some health expenses for the premium, but it's just, we haven't had any, which has been fantastic. So, another thing is when we signed up, it showed us the high deductible plan versus the lower deductible plan. And it was really interesting when we kind of did the math on it, because for us, well, basically what we did is we made a spreadsheet with kind of, I think to just do a basic analysis on your healthcare, you got to kind of look at 4 different scenarios. So you look at the high deductible plan versus the lower deductible plan. And you look at, okay, what if my health is as good as it can possibly be this year, so I never get sick? It's just, maybe if you have a prescription already, those expenses. And then, okay, what if I get kind of sick? Okay, what if I get pretty sick this year? Like I get sick several times and there's several things that go wrong. And then there's what if there's catastrophic health expenses. So, I mean, you could look at more levels than that, but I think those 4 levels can really begin to paint a picture and just compare the 2 health plans side by side, looking at what your total out-of-pocket spending would be for the year in each of those cases. No health problems, some, lots of health problems, or catastrophic. And for us, it was a no-brainer. I believe the high deductible plan actually ended up winning out on all 4 of those scenarios, and on some of them by an enormous margin. But that's all you really got to do is look at all 4 of those scenarios, looking at all of the variables, and just see which one's the best. One big thing that really helps the high deductible plan to make more sense for us, and possibly for you, depending on your scenario, is the health savings account, which I had never had one. I was a teacher, so I just had really good health insurance that I didn't even have to pay for when I was single. But when you get a high deductible plan, you qualify for a health savings account, and that's kind of a big game changer. It opens up about $7,000 in extra tax-free space if you're married. And not only that, but the tax-free money is accessible. You don't have to do any IRA conversions, and you don't have to wait till you're in your 60s to get it. If there's a health expense, boom, you pull that money out and spend it. So that is a really cool extra tool. It just magically makes all of your health expenses tax-free. And as far as keeping track of that goes, it might sound like it's a big hassle, but it's not too bad. Every time there's a health expense, whether it's a prescription or going to the dentist or whatever, I just take a photo of the receipt on my phone and put it in a special folder that's just called HSA, so I have, proof that the health expense actually happened. And then I sign in on my HSA account. I'm using Health Savings Administrators. If you know a better one than them, let me know. And I just log in and withdraw the money. I don't recommend using a debit card to get your HSA funds out because you can spend it on a credit card instead and earn the rewards points, and that makes things a little cheaper. The last thing, and I think this is really interesting, is because I just randomly stumbled upon this. When you get an HSA, you are allowed a once per lifetime rollover from your IRA to your HSA. So for that first year that you have an HSA, you shouldn't contribute any normal money to it. You should just max it out by rolling funds in from your IRA. So that's another little perk with an HSA is about $7,000 if you're married of the money in your IRA you don't even have to do anything sneaky to access it. You can just start spending that on health expenses right now. So I think that's another big boost. And actually, when I called Vanguard and asked him about it, he was like, I didn't even know you could roll funds from an IRA to an HSA. And it's like, yeah, it turns out you can, but no one ever talks about that. And every thousand counts, and that's $7,000 of pre-tax that I don't need to worry about anymore. It's going to get spent on health expenses. So, yeah, as far as healthcare goes, it's actually, for the next 12 months, it is not really high on my priority list of things that I'm worried about. For us, it's just been pretty cheap. The biggest thing is I'm just trying to stay really healthy. I mean, obviously with the high deductible plan, I have to pay every time I go to a dentist or I go to a doctor. So you have to, the ball's kind of in your court. You get to choose how much healthcare you want, how much you want to spend for it, and blah, blah, blah. So, but overall, in pretty much every scenario, we were better off with the high deductible plan, even if we end up getting sick a lot, which was a pretty interesting thing. So, health insurance. Oh, by the way, I saw someone else on one of the Mustachian Facebook groups, and they did a spreadsheet analysis similar to what I was talking about. I was going to kind of make one to show you what the analysis would look like, but they saved me the trouble. So I'm going to put that link in the description if you want to tinker with a spreadsheet a little bit yourself. And yeah, just start seeing where the numbers come out. That's what it's all about, and picking the best path. Not the one that feels the best, but the one that is quantitatively that makes the numbers come out to be the biggest. That's the one you want to choose, right? Okay. See you on the next episode, and happy holidays.